Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see by the title, I messed up, and I'm here to explain why and try to prevent you from doing the same thing that I did. Now, granted, not a huge mess up, but it was something that I could have easily avoided. So let's go over that now in this abandoned parking lot that I hope nobody shows up. Okay, so unfortunately, as you saw, I set that up and somebody pulled right the fuck in. Two guys in their work truck pretty much parked right next to me within that whole space and just started smoking. So I felt awkward doing this and I moved. But then I had a so I went home. This is like 2 hours, 3 hours after I filmed that intro. Anyway, I fucked up. I got the wrong wheels size-wise for my vehicle. Let's get into that so you guys don't fuck that up. So starting a long time ago, I looked at a bunch of X3Ms that I liked, and there was one setup that really stood out in particular. It was the Advan GT setup that Brock had on his white X3M. I saw that setup and stance and said, you know what? That's the setup that I want. I want that stance, I want that look. So, throughout the course of the time of me owning the car, I eventually got enough money to go and buy some wheels. So before I did that, I wanted to do research on, obviously, proper wheel setup, what's going to rub, what's not going to rub. My whole thing going into it was I wanted to do a squared setup. True squared, same size wheel all around, same size tire all around. And I knew that because me and Brock had been talking, the setup that he had was not a true squared setup. So, so many other things came into this. I needed to figure out what I could run a 275 on, 275 40/20, because my eventual goal was to run an 18 in the back as well. So in order to run the 18 in the back, preferably you run a 275 40/20 in the front, and you run a 305 45 18 in the rear. I believe that's it. Obviously, whatever I fuck up, I'm going to put it in anyway. So I had a couple of things combating me, trying to figure out, okay, what do I run tire-wise and what's going to work wheel-wise. I knew Brock was running actually, I don't even remember what the front wheel is. It was like a 20 by 9.5, the offset I forget. And the rear is what I'm running now. A 20 by 10.5 ET32, that's the offset. So I figured, okay, he's running that with like people that run this setup, not just him, people that run that setup. It's a staggered setup. He's running the 315 35 20 in the back and a 275 40 in the front. That works. With that knowledge, I went into this and I said, I like the look, and this is where I went wrong. I like the look of the rear wheel, the depth of it, and I know that it might be a little aggressive, but a 10.5 should work in the front. I'm telling you, this is where I fucked all this up. So knowing that, I said, a 275 40 should beat up to a 10.5 wide rim, so that shouldn't be a problem, right? And it wasn't. I got them in. I ended up ordering a 20 by 10.5 ET32 all around because I knew, you know what, fuck it, it works in the rear and it should work in the front. Beat it up the tires. The tire had a little stretch to it, which was another part that I kind of fucked up on because I wanted that thick sidewall look. But, it is what it is. I have a little stretch. It doesn't look too bad. So, fuck it. We ball. Spinning. Damn. Okay, so the tires mounted up. It had a little bit of a stretch. Though I figured, I don't have to put a spacer anywhere. I got to fucking throw these things on. The offset should be good. Perfect. I could run the 18 when I want to, and I could rotate the tires without worrying at all. It's a true squared setup. It won't matter. Well, this is where I fucked up, okay? The offset in the front mixed with the 10.5 width on this wheel was way too aggressive. I now have to run at least, I haven't tried any other size spacer, but at least probably a 10 mil spacer, so the offset, it comes out to 22 instead of 32. That's a whole thing in itself, which is very confusing. But I just bought this I did a squared setup because I knew, okay, it works in the rear, it should work in the front. Worst thing I could have possibly done, because without the 15 millimeter spacer that I'm running right now, like I said, I would like to drop it down to maybe a 10 millimeter spacer or a 12 millimeter spacer. But without that 15, these tires, this whole setup sits right on my coilovers, right on the strut. So obviously, no bueno. The first time I put this down after taking it off the lift, this bitch didn't want to move. And I was like, huh, park and brake is off. This should not be happening. This seems to be an issue. Thus, it was an issue. I had to, and thank God we figured it out there, which, I mean, we were gonna figure it out. But thank God I had the spacers, because I had to throw them on to clear the strut so that I could even move the vehicle. Not fun. My downfall within all this, which I'm trying to say to you guys, is within reason, don't do something that people haven't actually tried. If I ordered this wheel with a different offset, there's people that run, let me think, I think I've seen 20 by 10.5, and the offset is 22 or 20. They don't have to run a spacer. If I just did that little bit of research and that little bit of brain power, I would not have to be running these spacers. I wouldn't have fucked up. I would have had the perfect fitment. You know, what are you gonna do? You fuck up here, you fuck up there. I want to warn you guys from doing that within this 10-minute video that I'm gonna throw together. That shit sounds good. Let me tell you, that sounds sick. Absolutely scatterbrained. But the good thing about this video is that it doesn't just apply to X3Ms, even though you could take this and apply it to your X3M quite literally, because I told you my issues and I told you what works. Do your own research, but this is definitely very helpful. But the thing to take from this is don't try something completely new without doing enough research. Like I said, if I looked it up, I would have seen, okay, these guys run this sized wheel, but the offset is just a little different and they have no issues. Let me just do that. But my selfish ass liked the way that the rear wheel looked on Brock's car, so I said, let me just do that all the way around. I know people running 10.5s in the front. Should be good. Now, the proper way to actually look for your wheels and figure things out is to go on forums and to see what other people run and go from there. That truly is how I did this. Brock helped me out a fuck ton with this, so shout out to him because he's a really great guy. But he basically guided me through this, and then with my own negligence, I ran into that issue. I had these wheels made, so I literally could have done any size, any offset that I wanted, and I still managed to fuck it up. Not too bad, luckily, but so avoidable, so stupid. The gist of this video is that, oh, actually I should add this in too. I rub like a motherfucker within reason. I don't run a spacer in the back, so it's truly a 20 by 10.5, 32 offset. That does not really rub. I shaved some of the wheel liner off closest to the fender, like closest to that outer trim piece. I had to trim away some of the plastic on the trim piece and the wheel liner. I used a Dremel and I just went back and forth on both sides. That doesn't rub anymore. The front, I did the same thing. I had to take off a lot and it still rubs. not turning, believe it or not, but I guess if I'm turning on an angle and on like a little bit of a dip, it'll rub. I don't really hear it. Where I hear it is when I'm driving on certain just dips. I just hear it rub, and it does that pretty frequently. It's rubbed away a lot of it, and I don't have the issue as much. Going into it, I knew that was going to be a problem, but I didn't expect to Dremel shit out and still have that issue. Not a big deal, because it's not like a diesel truck where you're cutting away your bumper and fucking up your tires and whatnot, but you know, it's something to keep in mind. So if you're going to do a 20 by 10.5 on this car, I would say do a 20 by 10 and figure out the offset you like from there. Don't even do the 20 by 10.5. That is a stupid wide rim. You don't need to do that. My only complaints with this is everything I've listed, and the fact that I have a stretch tire. Like, it's not the look I wanted to go for. I wanted more of a flush, thick sidewall look. If I could do this all over again, I would do a 20 by 10 or a 20 by 9.5 and figure out what offset I like to make it have that concave look. Yeah, there's not much really else to say. I hope this helps, because, you know, it's a mistake that's completely avoidable. Just make sure to do your due diligence, and don't completely do something on your own without making sure that, like, okay, yeah, this will fit. My 18 on the back clears the caliper. Everything should be good with that. I'm looking forward to running that once the weather gets warm. I do the diff bolt, and I have custom tunes. Right now, could I use an 18? Yeah, but not really necessary. You know, I'm stage 293 OTS. It hooks for the most part. I do get some wheel spin, but it's not necessary right now. But yeah, so to wrap it up, I run a 275/40 all the way around on a 20 by 10.5 32 all the way around. Do not copy that exact setup, because it's just, no need to copy that. You could do it better than I did. I will be running an 18 on the back. I forget the exact, you know, I forget exactly what it is. It's an 18 by maybe 9.5. The offset, I think, is 17, and I'll be throwing a 305/45/18. If I fuck any of that up, I'm gonna put it here anyway. Looking forward to doing that, but God bless. Like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. And yeah, don't make the same mistakes I did. Consider me like your father or grandparent or uncle or something on this, and I'm trying to steer you in the right direction instead of making my foolish young man mistakes. So sorry about the camera swaying. You guys, God bless, and peace.